think aging is a form of reclamation. It's bringing back that girl into your life today before you manipulated every single part of you to please a culture that only wanted to keep you sexually attractive.
Yes. And a culture that profits off of you, whether it is selling the products through the vice of fear, right? That you need all of these things to be worthy and to be lovable. Whether they're selling to you through the modem of fear, or they're profiting by, sexualizing you in all of the ways that women are sexualized, to sell things, to move the needle in every possible industry. And I completely agree that going back to saying, hell with that, I see, when I look at all of that, I am so immovable when it comes to all of that, because I see exactly what the modem is and why they're trying to terrify. I mean, there's not an ounce of fear in me when it comes to aging, like none whatsoever. So I see all of that. I do feel sad for the women who believe in all of that messaging. But my work is exactly what you're talking about. It is a redirection. And before coming on here, I have a lot of clients via a messaging app where we do voice messages every day. And one of the biggest things I take women through is this reconnection. And I just recorded last week with my team this beautiful, we call it the inner maiden meditation, where I take them on a journey back to that 7, 8-year-old, 9, 10-year-old girl, that girl in there whose dreams, anything was possible. She had the most beautiful dreams. And as soon as she realized that the world had expectations from her, bit by bit, the walls started to close in, and she lost her magnetic energy, because she now realized, like, oh, my father has this expectation, the boys at my school have this, the girls, and before you know it, she's so far removed from herself. So I have women in their mid-40s and beyond coming saying, I want to find her again. I want to reconnect with her.
Yeah. And that's the opportunity, I think, of menopause and perimenopause. I call it the neurochemical armor. The neurochemical armor is coming down. You're starting to get this reflection of who you've been and who you can be. And here we are either villainizing menopause or creaming it or patching it, which is whatever you choose to do. There's no criticism on that. No. But don't miss the opportunity. And in my book, when that neurochemical armor comes down, there is like, oh my God, it's like a waking up to the 11-year-old and then dealing with the traumas that have been accumulated while you were under this patriarchal hex. So I know you do a lot of trauma work, like speak, because I like some of the stats that really kill my soul are like 40 to 50 is the most common time for a woman to commit suicide. 70% of divorces over 40 are initiated by women. To me, these are women that are waking up to this truth that they had altered themselves and they don't know what to do. And I feel like voices like you, me, other people, we need to stand up as a collective and surround these women and say, you just were asleep. You were asleep for 40 years and you're waking up. Don't turn on yourself. Go back to your authentic self and let her shine. So how do we help these women when they're in that moment, when traumas show up, when they hear words like we're talking about and say, you two are so brave? It's like, no, there's a deeper awakening that you and I are saying don't miss, but there's also a deeper healing that may need to happen.
Absolutely. I started a podcast maybe 20 weeks ago, and it's Midlife Muse, and I named it Everything Your Mother Never Told You. Right. And it's because and it's not about blaming. It's the reality. Our mothers couldn't teach us a different way to source our lives because nobody ever taught them. Right. So women like us are coming with the megaphone saying, wait a minute, I do believe there's a different way that we can do this, a more beautiful way. My own mother, possibly yours, I'm not sure, is looking at me like I'm the bravest woman that's ever walked this earth at 75. She's still terrified of aging, colors her hair every 2 weeks, and can't believe that I'm as free as I am in my life, right? Wow. To live the way I'm living. So I think the work becomes First, so much grace and compassion as these women start to come awake, right? Grace and compassion. And you look over your shoulder and you realize you built an entire life through the energy of I will obtain worthiness, maybe even a little bit of love, if I serve. And I serve and I serve and I give and I give and I give to the point that I get so far removed, I have no idea who I am. And I'll keep doing that. And then what ends up happening is you get a few decades down the road and you wake up one day in the middle of your life and you think, I don't know if that return on investment was actually what I thought it was going to be. And what I find almost in every situation across the world when women find my work is what is missing, Mindy, almost every time in this beautiful puzzle that they've constructed. I got the house, I got the job, I have the kids, I have the money, we take 2 vacations a year, I've got the dog, I've got, right, they've got all the things. I eat organic, I work out 5 days a week. And then the one piece, there's that piece in the middle, they're like, I can't find that piece of the puzzle. Where is it? 9 times out of 10, it's them. They're doing everything on what I call the patriarchal checklist, but something is missing. Something feels off. And this is where I see addictions begin to happen, whether it's a shopping addiction, a drinking addiction, Netflix addiction, scrolling on their phones, affairs begin to percolate and happen. Because what's actually missing, and the culture hasn't given women alternatives like we're doing right now, is like, oh my gosh, sister, you are missing. And the women are like, what? Mindy, when I sit in a room at my retreats and I ask 30 women, we're sitting in a circle on the floor, and I ask them to start by going around. 2 things I ask them. When we go around and it's your turn, please introduce yourself. Tell us your name, what brings you here, and tell us about you. I don't want to know who you serve. I don't want to know if you're married. I don't want to know if you have children. And I don't want to know who you work for. Tell me about your soul. And women are like, I don't know what to say. And then a few hours later, we get into the next activity, and I ask them, like, in the deepest places of within you, I take them through a meditation, and I ask them, what do you desire? Mindy, the things that women desire will blow your heart wide open. It's so beautiful. And then we start to unpack, well, what's kept you from stepping into that? Fear that my partner will leave. Fear that, one of the biggest questions that I get asked all the time is, how does your partner deal with your such a huge opinion, the way you are so public, the way you speak about things, and I have pretty strong opinions. How does he deal with that? How does he deal with you being successful and visible and all the things you are? I'm like, I don't know, maybe you should ask him. It's not like it's up for debate. This is just who I am.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't understand why they think there has to be a direct threat. Because I feel like my expansion, my truth, is an opportunity for his expansion and his truth to root even deeper. So it's fascinating that we think a successful woman, an opinionated woman, is somehow means she's not worth, she's going to lose love. That's women's biggest fear. If I go for what I desire, everyone's going to leave me. No one's going to like me, and my friends won't like me. Women are worried about losing their friends. And you know what, Mindy? The louder I get, the more public I get, the more things that happen in my career. Beautiful. Everybody loved to cheer for like the Amanda in private practice who was more quiet. Just my people in my town knew me, right? But as I went on social media around the COVID time, all of a sudden, the people who were rooting for me, like, oh, that's so cute. Oh my God, you're going to go on TikTok. I love that. Go, Amanda. And then as everything exploded and all these things are happening now, a lot of people are very quiet. And a lot of women who were standing there aren't standing there anymore. Because we like a woman when she has a dream, but we don't like her when it's come true.